Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to James Knows Nothing, where the implication is you watch a man who knows nothing about anything talk about something, as you know. Today is a bit of a freestyle video. I haven't really written much for it. This might shock you to find out that I do try and do a bit of research for my videos, even though the majority of them are shit. Anyway, Trent Alexander-Arnold has had a few things to say in the press. So obviously at the moment Trent is injured, and the comments that he made that we are going to be talking about was said in the build-up to Manchester City playing Liverpool. The game itself ended 1-1, which leaves Arsenal at the top of the table and everything to fight for between the two clubs. So when Trent starts to speak out in the press about Man City, I think he's clearly just doing it to try and get under their skin and to try and give Liverpool that psychological edge. So what did he say exactly? He said, when describing Manchester City, "You're up against a machine that's built to win. That's the simplest way to describe City and their organisation. Looking back on this era, although they've won more titles than us and probably have been more successful, our trophies will mean more to us and our fan base because of the situations at both clubs financially. How both clubs have built their teams and the manner in which we've done it probably means more to our fans." So let's talk about that, Trent, shall we? Fundamentally what he said there is that because Man City have had the funding of a state behind them, it means that they have had financial advantage over Liverpool. If you've watched the overlap recently, the fan debate one, Adam McCullough and that Man City fan who I don't know the name of, apologies, start to get into a bit of an argument because Adam McCullough says that City are essentially sports washing and it's doping in a roundabout kind of way.
It's mad, isn't it? When you're trying to defend literal financial doping by a sports washing state.
It's alleged.
Come on, bro.
Are you a lawyer?
Bro,
you
you
a
just
lawyer?
sat there and defending them. Are you a lawyer?
No, I've just said.
Everyone,
I've just
bro,
said allegedly.
it's OJ.
I know as much about it as you know.
literally
You know
OJ,
nothing
bro.
and I know nothing.
All right, nah, City's success is
You're just
spot on.
Yes, Man City have spent an awful lot of money, and yes, they have much deeper pockets than Liverpool. Liverpool can still spend an awful lot of money on one player. There was rumours in the summer that Jude Bellingham was going to go to Liverpool for north of £100 million, but Man City can afford to sign a player like Jack Grealish for £100 million, and in 3 seasons barely play him, or at least for 2 of those seasons barely play him. You could argue that signing paid for itself because Jack Grealish was essential to Man City winning the treble last year. Ultimately, they haven't used him, and he clearly isn't as valued as he maybe would be at Liverpool, which to me at least says that Man City, like I said, can go out and spend £100 million and kind of go, well, it doesn't suit our style of play, we'll just put him on the bench. So in terms of what Trent's saying about the titles and how much they mean to each fan base, I think that's a little bit naive of Trent, because ultimately Man City fans, every Premier League title will mean the world to them. You know, before the money, Man City were a club who struggled to even stay in the Premier League. Premier League trophy to them, no matter how many times they win it, I don't think will ever lose its value to them. So Man City, it's no secret, have been incredibly dominant over the last sort of 5 or 6 years. They've won 5 Premier League titles in the last 6 years. They've won 3 in a row now, and have they won 5 or have they won 4? They've won 5. They've won 5 Premier League titles, yeah. They've won a Champions League, they've won FA Cups, they've won League Cups, they've broken points records, and they've, like I said, they've just dominated English football, really. You know, Liverpool managed to dethrone them once, and Arsenal came close last year, but ultimately, Man City have won an insane amount of trophies. People are saying now, is the Premier League turning into a one-team league? Yes, it is, ultimately. You know, 5 Premier Leagues in 6 years, that is ridiculously dominant. That's like PSG, Ligue 1, Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga, or Celtic in the SPL. It is turning into that kind of league. However, if you think that that is simply down to the money, that is absolutely not true. I hate to break it to you, every one of the top 6 clubs have an insane amount of money, and they can now afford to sign players for £100 million. It's because of Pep. Pep is the reason they are so dominant. As soon as Pep leaves, you will see the Premier League open up again, and you'll see Liverpool and Arsenal and maybe even Spurs or Chelsea or United or whoever start to compete and start to win titles again. Pep is one of the best football managers of all time, and he creates teams that are so dominant, especially domestically. You look at his Barcelona team, you look at the Bayern Munich team that they broke the points record. It's just how he manages. He is unbelievable at dominating domestic football, at grinding out results, at getting win after win after win after win. You know, he had a Centurion team in the Premier League, for God's sake. So to think that Man City have all the success because of the money isn't true. They have all the success because of Pep, and he is the one that has turned them into this quote-unquote machine machine that is designed to win. But there is another argument to say that because Liverpool, if they were to win the Premier League this year, would have won 2 Premier Leagues under Klopp, those would hold more value because there's less of them. Man City's 5, potentially 6, 7, 8, 9 Premier Leagues they'll win under Pep, they won't feel as special individually because there's so many of them. Premier League is a Premier League in my opinion. Like, it doesn't matter who wins it, it's still an unbelievable achievement. Even Man United will hold dear every one of the 13 Premier Leagues that they won in their dominance under Sir Alex Ferguson. But then there's also the juxtaposition between the Klopp team and the Pep team, because the Pep team is generally filled with unbelievable players who were known to be unbelievable players before they signed with Man City. Your likes of Jack Grealish, Kyle Walker. You know, Edison wasn't considered an amazing keeper before he went to City, and he's kind of progressed out to be one of the best keepers in the league. You look at Ruben Diaz, John Stones was wanted by everybody when he was leaving Everton. Kevin De Bruyne, Erling Haaland, Mahrez, Raheem Sterling, all really good players before they went to City. But Pep takes really good players and he develops them into world-class players. Jurgen Klopp takes players who are, I think, generally considered to be diamonds in the rough, maybe, unattractive players. Players who you look at, Andy Robertson from Hull, a left-back, what the fuck? And turns Andy Robertson into one of the best left-backs in the world. But again, it's the way the two managers work is very different. Because like I said, Pep has the financial benefit of being able to pick some of the best players in the world, but that doesn't mean that they just plateau and just stay stay as they are. Look at any of the players that Pep has signed, regardless of how good they were before they signed for Man City. The progression that Pep develops within them is unbelievable. I'm a Liverpool fan, as you can't tell. There's a plaque there, there's a water bottle there, the cat's out the bag. Raheem Sterling, when he was at Liverpool, was a decent player. He was a flair player, he had quick feet, he was rapid, but his finishing was terrible. He literally missed so many chances. Pep then brings him into a system and thinks, right, well, if he can't finish, we'll put him in a system where he gets even more chances. So now Raheem Sterling is considered one of the best wingers ever in the Premier League. He's scored over 100 Premier League goals. That's because Pep saw the qualities he had, even though he was already a good player, and developed him into this unbelievable player. Riyad Mahrez as well. People forget, Riyad Mahrez, the season that City won the treble and the season before, was fucking unbelievable. And I think he was quite underrated, actually. But yeah, Pep has the luxury of picking very good players and making them into world-class players, whereas Klopp picks, I want to say, decent players, puts them in a system where it brings the most out of them, and in some cases develops them into world-class players. You look at Sadio Mane, Virgil van Dijk, Bobby Firmino, Mo Salah, Andy Robertson, even Jordan Henderson, Gini Wijnaldum, Fabinho. All these players were considered decent before they went to Liverpool. Because of how Klopp set the team up, they all played unbelievably. And the same could be said for Pep. It's just he picks players which are kind of further along, I suppose, in their development process, if that makes sense. But I don't think anything should really be taken away from either Liverpool or City's title. I think that they should both be celebrated. You know, Man City have taken English football to a level that I don't think anybody really thought that it could go to. He's completely influenced even grassroots football now in terms of playing out from the back, in terms of how a team keeps the ball, how a team presses. Arguably, Klopp has always been the antidote. You know, he's always been rock and roll football, high paced, high press, high energy. They're both great in their own way, you know. But yeah, again, a very, very short video today, but it was just something that I wanted to touch on, because as a Liverpool fan, I love Trent, and I love the fact that he's speaking out and actually throwing a bit of shade at Man City. I think that's something that football's lost, is the conflict, a bit of fucking, nastiness. I feel like players these days are too soft, and managers as well rarely talk about each other in a negative way. But ultimately, I think it's something in nothing, really, because, of course Liverpool fans are going to appreciate how Liverpool have won the Premier League more than how City have won the Premier League, because why would City fans care? But I don't think, like I said, I don't think that you can say that a Premier League to Liverpool fans means more than a Premier League to Man City fans, because just think about that for a second. It's a stupid thing to say. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments, and I will see you next week. So have a good week, guys, and I hope this video isn't shit, even though it's going to be.